So, yeah, that number the number to Samala, and touch the lace, and there's a cousin. As when Jim Manu can you miss all I do, some of the music to touch the lace.
So first of all, Tashidele to all of you. So hello in Tibetan, Tashidele to all of you, but especially to the new faces that we see here. So Tashidele to the newcomers.
That did so the Tatana Jogi, Yamachi Mugila, Kansomba, Tambo, Narunga, Kan Kobat, near Kan Kobade, Chancellor de Shidi, she, Tambo. Nibadela, and the Chancellor Tiwakare Yonazo, Chancellor Tiwatan, and Yetela.
So today we all went to His Holiness teachings in the morning. So at the first moment here today, I'm going to say a little bit about what I understood from the teaching. I'm going to say a short time about this. And then in a second moment, we can have questions, if anyone has questions, opinions, etc.
And
then we're going to do a competition. Who understood the most what His Holiness had to say today? Yeah.
Ko sonju nalandro chata ton sonju yabo manyimba monzinchiri hagoso.
And then we're going to be able to identify, to recognize who went there and didn't quite listen, just drank tea, just enjoyed the moment, but didn't pay attention to what he said. We're gonna
noche kabu.
For example, like a cup turned upside down.
That's a movie.
It's a joke.
That also this one dish might be one so Ounjong with Tony. Also, Kamakashi Rila. So, Luda Semika, Lolo Chavicheta, Unjong Tola, Ugum, Kamakashi Chika.
So, before explaining this, let's do a short breathing meditation. So, for our bodies and our minds to get to a more stable state, we're going to sit down for a few minutes. Let's focus on the breath.
Oh, yes, so Unjong Gumiade, Zugan, so Ludan Sim, Lolo,
Okay, so what's the point for us to do a breathing meditation? It's basically for our body and mind to become relaxed, more relaxed.
So same the Lolo Chawaina, and Samlo Zambu Chola, Samlo the Lojong China, Lojong the Pitagotan, Samlo Yatan Chu.
If our mind is relaxed, then when we study, our study becomes a very good quality. If we try to think to the good side, think in a positive way, it's much easier. You can think with much more quality.
Yeah, that didn't tumble near Yixi Tangura. Yarmuchi did Ogila Masula, Ma Lojong Karatina, and near Kazu Koyome, Yixi Tambo.
So now I have an exam here. So like you guys are giving me an exam, and I am gonna say now how much you understood from His Holiness teachings, and you have to grade me.
당연히 당부 익세 당원이 갈라 가르레지데 당부들라 공가 가르 송송지데 당아초 제당의 체니 미수인 바이나 소소래야 지 레와 자와 가르라 있나 레와 지요 다디 레와 들래야 영아초 미 따당 샤바 지제나 몰라 몰람 자들래야 미 샤바타나 레와 마음방아 디디디디 지고도 세나 벤나 소소 로종이나 디디지 나 종나
And with some rewa yuri.
레와 요리 이 레와들라 미 따당
Let's
직제나 레와 미 따당 직제나 몰라
So one thing that I recall that he said, the first thing that I can recall that he said was, every one of us, we have hopes. We have hopes. There's something, whatever is we hope for things. And another name for these hopes, we can also say prayers. We can use this word prayers for this.
야. 다 데네 콩고 가르쳐 송송 시디가라 아주 몰름 자고요레 디나네 장아주 추바드소 몰름 지자고레스 디나네 남바 산지바이 지인 송자 몰름 몸보 자고요레스.
And what he said, us as religious practitioners, if we are religious practitioners, then we do a lot of prayers, especially the Buddhist practitioners.
당아주 몰름 자원디 간라야 산지 준데 디가 나솔라야 주 마 가르송요레 시디간라야 코롱기 로종 가르치요 봐 코롱기 냠레 가르치요 봐 아니 코롱라야 지 로종 지니 지부 가르치 토비요 바데 다 견한소 로종 딜리치 냠레 딜리치 로종 딜리치나 타티근 지분 딜리 토비안 두다 하신 그런 거 냠용들 나솔마 송요레스
임나 송요레
산지 준데디
이번은 이때부터 토이가
준데디 뭐 가르치요리 로종지 아니 냠렌지 다 로종지 냠렌지디 다 타마들은 지부지 도 그러봐 오 디즘바드 간디 진로요 바이나 디 난신지 나솔마 송요레스 땡요레스
송요레스
땡
니몰람들 더 카리오레
네 동부절도 jirta
니몰람 몰람
제가 요레스 동부절도
Okay. So the Buddha, what did he tell us? He tell us of a order that things go. So he said that first he told us to study, and on top of this we have to practice. And he said that if we do these two things, at the end we're gonna have a result, right?
제가 대가르레스 디가라 산지 준렌디야 지부든지 지라 레와 잡니 다른 지부들 레와 그런 거 투빈 지부지 투비르바 지부 부숨 소바지 지부 부숨 소바 투비오데 당보니 투비오 말레스 임바는 데라 레와 잡아 나시 대단 투비 규 사발레테니 이 담아들라 지부도 총바레스.
So basically, what is the connection with the hope or the prayers? So the hope, first we hope for this result. We recognize this result. For example, here a very excellent result, which is the state of Buddhahood, to become a Buddha. So hoping for this result, then we find the necessary, what are the causes? What do we need to do in order to achieve this result we want?
지gam니 덴디치온데 칼라 고 레와다 몰음데 간디치 임바이나 대단 툼비 규지 사바이나 대단 툼비 지부지 덴데 조야 요레스.
So just like this, when we have hopes or when we pray, we also need to connect them with these causes. We need to still act. We need to accumulate the causes and conditions for these results to be achieved.
야. 베나 아니 가르레스 산지 준데디세아데 딱바 랑종 지금 말이야 송도 딱바 지레베스나 그 당분이 상기 이임바 딘디급에 간사 캬버리 진지 당분이 레베스나 딘디 말레스 그 말레스 주상보 몰라사 아니 지금 상보도 주바레스.
Because the Buddha, he's not a permanent thing. He's not a thing that's unchanging and was born like a Buddha, something that appeared in the universe as a Buddha. So he had these good causes, these positive causes that in the end they resulted in Buddha, in becoming a Buddha.
Oh yeah. That 딘디가 주상보데 주 가르레스 디가나 콩가 가르치 송송스. 아시안 라 펜심 돈다 삼바 상보 아니 아시안 라 펜비 삼로데 다 주주지 데레스.
And what is the main cause? If we're talking here about the good causes that bring about this Buddhahood, what today His Holiness said is the main cause. He said that is the mind, a heart that wants to benefit other people. That's the main cause that will bring this result.
제가 나로 쫄라 레와다 몰음데 가라 요래 라바이나 대와다 나라고 둥을 나라고 레와다 몰음 데 따가서 참아.
And what is the hope, a prayer that we all have, we all do to ourselves? I want happiness. I don't want to suffer. That's a hope that we all have.
다 진디그 레와다 몰음 니보다 가르선데 대와 고 둥을 고고 메바이나 다 둥을 그 주도 뇽리 당고레스 대위 주도 마르 당고레스.
So if we all have this hope, what is something that we all have to do if we have this hope? We need to see the causes of suffering and reduce them. We need to see the causes of happiness and increase them.
저런서 빈소 근선다나를 용hit서 하고래 가상아서 무기니 원래 장들지야 뭐 지들이 여름무치 무기라 옹수 송송 고송 가상에 원래 가서 원래 저런서 송추나라 여름무치 지지나 리데 송거래 들이 걸라 몽부지 무기 송추나라 송송.
Maybe those who are going to the library, maybe you could identify some things that we said, oh, maybe he's going to talk about this and this. We had an introduction. Today he said many of those things. Maybe you could say.
디나니 가르레 지디가나 아니 가서 지부 대화도 고고요 바네 디그 주도 가르가르 지디가 주치드 삼바상보세 주치드 가르레 지디 셰럽 그차 어디 셰럽당 삼바상보니드 냠도 코니 냠도 존들 제바이나 냠도 소소 jel라 요바이나 텔레티니 소소 칸도제 대화도 톱그레스.
So what is also the cause for this happiness that we all hope for, that we all strive for? So basically there are two main things. So one is the warm heartness, a warm heart. The second one is about wisdom. So if we have these two things working together, wisdom and a warm heart, then this happiness that we want so much can be achieved.
다 삼바상보세야데 야 양무치 질질마 소소 이나 단다 나존데 가스법이 야 제니 가르레스 베나스 삼바상보세야데 주 닌지 소자 베나가소 담보 끼위 까블레 임바이나 파미 잠셀라 티니 끼와인 손자 아니 고 끼위 까블레야 장종 제니가 아미그 세와 텔레티니 가소 끼와레스
So this warm heartness, so this warm heartness is related to compassion. It's related to compassion. And we all in this world, when we first came to this world, we were born out of and thanks to the love of our mother and father.
Parla nebi kablaya, ani also pants chigichilaya, ko jamse yaboyo de new midang, nyamdo. And
also, as we live our life in our daily life, we need to have this love and compassion also to stay well with our surroundings.
타망알소 시루지비 까블레 바이나요. 아니 베 제와요비 소소고지 도보도모모 지가 꼬르니가죠. 베나가로지 나 시루지비 까블레 소소고지 도보도모모 지가 꼬라잡니 아니 고 갈레 신로와 어디서서 시비 까블레는 바이나 제와제 잠시제 몽보지 그 소소금 타니 꼬르
잠시가 땡기래.
네, 잠시제 미몽보지 나나니 시루지니 니데로와 니데가 걸랑이 타래야 상망알아 가보니고 ngala tsewa yoni to sama ngala tasa yoni koso sama nga korni degerwa
hakuso. And also when we die, when we are laying in bed and we are very sick, there are also many people who have love for us, many people close to us, they are there with us. Did you hear this? He's saying something about this.
Kindigalanga taki jarmuchi tili chite sumdo tini sombe ngaro dele chin so ni semliana pe soro pe kiwochon.
I wrote these three things that I heard about His Holiness saying, and there was a very happy feeling in my mind when I heard in my heart.
Oh yeah, da cheza tin sonza donda samba sambo labna donda aso pansa chikichile ya sewa shikchimbo chela chewa dela sundaji imbayina dela sewa 강터도 지바이나 사마상부 세야데 지고 데 지금 지와 디소고 소소 강도자가 디비 주도 듣고 요레스.
Yeah, so basically here this, maybe I forgot to translate this. Basically, if you have this warm heartedness, if you practice this, then you're gonna have these results. You're gonna have all these causes for happiness. So basically, the meaning is the more you can practice this, the more you can have this mind wanting to benefit other people, the more happiness comes to you.
Yeah. 다 젠라 세와마치 디오라 가르치 송송 젠라 세와마치니 소소라 데제 노바치니 그 미치바이나 오 공알라 노바데 제송 당이 콜라 노렌 노렌 제고도 삼 소소가 셈바 삼데나 소소가 셈라 딘데 삼데나 소소가 셈바 마키바 마도 잔다 펜도 요마레 소송아치.
And also he also said that if someone doesn't act with love and compassion towards us, but this person on the opposite says many things that we don't like to hear. So one way for us to react is this person is not a good person for me, and you can want to get some revenge. So the only thing that this is going to bring you, he said, is it's only going to bring you an unhappy mind. Apart from this, it's not going to bring anything good out of it.
다가나지게 직가르 소소 결혼을 수 미거 노바 제바이나 델레야 결혼파 공조 제바이나 결혼라 강연이 임그레스.
So he also said that if someone harms you and you give anger towards this person, you react with anger, there are two problems that comes with this.
노바 결혼라 강연이 가르무레스 코가 소소라 노바 지위 강연지.
So what are these two problems? The first one is the harm itself that the person caused you. That's one problem that came to you. The second one is the harm that your anger brought to you. So bringing your mind to an unhappy state, your anger did this.
노바 메바차 페나 미지가라서 기과샤 시와이나 다 녜콜 파 콘트롤란 콘트롤와이나 딕다기 기과샤다 메바차 도야 요르베스나 요마 코나사다란자 데그레마도 나 콘트롤 디 나사다 메바차 모.
And if we react with anger, let's say someone, for example, hits me here, hits me in my shoulder. If I react with anger, or if I get the revenge, it's not going to change anything about the wound I have in my shoulder. And it's not going to fix anything.
Yeah. That didn't in Sonza, just another Sozola Nova Chingy Chimbainaya, Kadi Conto Matembache. In the Noche Telea, and they call Lelo Gold. In the Lelo Tande, and is a control Lembo Malawache, so the Shero Pecho Tani, Lembolona, and then Lentata Yabuzo Tures.
So basically, if someone harms you, the advice here is for you not to get angry. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't reply to this person. You need to answer the situation. You need to answer this person. But how do you answer is the thing. You don't answer out of anger. You don't answer with this, reacting with this emotion, but you try to use your wisdom. You try to use your intelligence to fix the situation. So basically also the more we have this love and compassion, the more we practice this, the less the root of suffering, the source of suffering, which is the self-cherishing mind, the smaller and smaller, the weaker and weaker it gets. And what happens? Yes. The more we can decrease the self-cherishing mind, I consider myself to be so much more important than others, the self-cherishing mind. The more you can decrease this, the more the causes of problems for us decrease. And if we can, because this is the cause of our problems, and if we decrease this cause of our problems, we also decrease the problems themselves in our lives. So one of the problems, the main problems in our lives, it comes depending on what? Self-grasping. Self-grasping.
다 단순데 매버소비 탑람 약쇼트 카레즈나 다음에 또 비셔 텔레디니 단순 매버소 고레스.
And what is the best method to remove the self-grasping? So this is going to be something called the wisdom of selflessness. 다음에 비셔럽래.
또 비셔럽디.
다음에 또 비셔럽디.
매버소 고레스.
Yeah.
베나가조 문바 철로고 문바 컴비나라 너콩 차디오바이나 데 매버소야 가르스. 디올로고 고다 디니가.
For example, if this room here is very dark, what's the method for us to make this, to fix this darkness, to make so we can see something? We turn on the lights.
Yeah. Then I say also semki ko mumba tan dravi ko maripa tinani dance maripa de nawa tan dravi dame to be shared de mebaso.
So just like this in our mind, in our mental continuum, the analogy of this darkness is analogous to our ignorance. And this ignorance is the self-grasping that we have. And the light in this case is this wisdom realizing selflessness.
Yeah. 제가 드리는 소자다 오늘 단지 메부비 탑럼데 시보데 가발테 요레스 디가나 아니 다 드린 가서 소나디 오마란 주파다 오마지비 란르다 고몰로도 sombi sawa sherola sobi nanglola da dami bi namja hajinga sirbo tenyores.
So to counteract this sickness that we have of the self-grasping, this ignorance, then we have these tools of today we studied the Entering the Middle Way by Chandakirti, and there are also texts by Nagarjuna, the root verses of the Middle Way.
Yeah.
The root verses of the Middle Way.
Yeah. Odini.
So
very good.
Thank
you. Oh, da garrez na ona khoso pena gombo lojo na panda dawa so somba de tagara umuyo neta yimba de garichini hago yore lamna.
But why are we going to accept, like, why is what Nagarjuna or Chandakirti, what they wrote in this text, why is it reality? How can we understand this? Is it actually reality, what they said?
Yeah. They are is the Sanji Chunda did the Tanga to some of number Chimbaina, not to Tombares, Tacope, on Tambudri. Imba inaya, Congo Sonla Imba inaya, Demoni, Coco Somba Nation, Dachishimba Rendue. Then Dachishimba do Dachishimba, Tando Mito.
Ah, listen.
How was Tando the Mito? Yana, Dachishimba, Dachishimba, Yana, Coco Somba Nation. 우연에다 다다렌도에 고 somba 나신데 덴바렌도에 고 somba 나신데 줌바렌도에 코텔에 빼딱 딱게모 치니 마도 산지존데디가 송레즈는 람사 다가랑레 촌이 송고.
And for us Buddhists, so the Buddha Shakyamuni, he is our teacher, the number one of our teacher. But how do we approach his teaching? So we don't approach as he just did now, okay, Buddha Shakyamuni said this is reality, this is the way things are. We analyze every single word that the Buddha said, because is it exactly what he said? Is it reality or not? Because some things they're going to be called interpretative meaning, and some things definitive meaning. So some things you have to interpret if that's actually the way it is, and some things could be the way it is.
Majena, Carsenimir Zuma in the pair, the Conchimbo, so the pair and go push Chimbo Tebro.
For example, when we find something very precious, for example, gold, if you want to buy gold, we need to analyze very well this gold, because if it ends up being something false, that's very expensive.
Oh, Pete Naja, not so in Bainata, Tiniga, Pena Sanjay, and Gombo Lodula, so your son de la Taki Yabo Majena, Carsenimi Koso, Zuma Kanyan son dini, Nasu Zuma. Jil Judeina, Penangadoina, Nimute Sama, Tikan Lojon Zondo. Tangazu Demba Juma in the Koso Zuma Kanjason, Mazoyati, Takaran Insari, some the Taki imagine Rodena, Tanga Pedra, Nimute Cholando.
And just like this, if I don't analyze what Nagarjuna has said, what Chandakirti has said, what Buddha has said, if I don't analyze this, then, for example, my life, I wasted it completely. Because, I'm a monk and I have, that's everything I've done in my life. So if I don't analyze if what he ended up saying were lies, if that's not reality, then I waste my life. So if I don't analyze and I just stay there listening, oh yes, that's the way things are. That's the way things are. That's the way things are. Just reaffirming to myself, then it's very dangerous. I can waste my whole life.
당나신그 산지준의 그런 거야 가르소요래 라바이나 아니 나 캐런 저거 톰바 임비차니 네 강송바드 캐런 저 쳔이 켈랭고 말이스.
Just like and because of this, what Buddha Shakyamuni said, yes, I am your teacher, but what I say, don't accept it. Don't accept it.
네 강송바드 캐런 저거 우요 내단던 톰바 인다 마인게 딱지하고 제쇼스.
Whatever I said, you have to analyze if that's reality or not.
아야, 우요 내단던 톰바 덴바 인다양 캐런 저래 펜도 요메 대양 다쇼스.
And even if it is reality, if it's the way things are, you also have to analyze, is there any benefit for me with this? Is it good for me?
다 우요 내단던 톰바 마인바 데니 임바이는 캐런 켈랭고 말이.
And if you find out that it's not in accordance to reality, if it's not real what I said, then you don't have to follow me.
우연에단던 tumba 있나요? 아니 계란라 펜도 매바이나? 야샤나 되게 계란데 켈랭고 말이야.
And if it's the actual reality, if it's the way things are, but it's not much use for you, no benefit for you, also leave it aside.
야, 제가 여러분 제때 무슨 소모데 나름 그양 계란 소다데 단다디 다기 제고래서 예.
So these are some things that His Holiness says, and this whole thing that I started saying here about having to examine and analyze, that's an extra from my side. He didn't talk about this.
되지. 자자, 딘이 소자 오나다 딘디 임바이나 마수고 딘이 셈리야 삼로 누가 쳐대 유로와 땅야다 삼로 상아 쳐대 야기 땅야 요바데 가르치니 요래스나 가르치니 그 누가 쳐대 유로와 땅고야 야가 쳐대 야기 땅고야 데 콜라야 딘 유로와 도야 요래베 가르치니 유로와 도그래 아니 누가 쳐대나 가르치니 메버서야 요래스나.
And we can ask ourselves, why is it possible to change our bad minds or these bad emotions, negative emotions? Is it possible to increase and develop our positive emotions, our positive minds, etc.? Why is it possible to?
다 계란소 삼로 가르치 땅고래 지디가 삼로 누가 그렇게 빼나 컨트롤 답이나 컨트롤 때 맞아 그 셈가 란신라 유요레베스나. And
what do we have to think here? The nature of our minds. The nature of our minds, if we get anger is not in the nature of our minds. It's not the nature of our mind. For example, here an example.
re mebaso goyamado re mabodo meba chasona komabo charu de mena mabodo lokacha red lokacha yo.
For example, this fabric, if you get this fabric and the color red, these are two things that are in the same nature. So if I want to destroy this red, if I want to eliminate this red from the fabric, it doesn't matter how much, in this case black, it doesn't matter how much I do this and this and this, and I try and I try and I try. At the end, I won't have fabric. Before I don't have black, I won't have any fabric left. Because this is the nature of this fabric, is red too. So we cannot put them aside. We cannot say this is red, this is the fabric.
So
just like this, just in this example, if we think that the fabric is our minds and the red is anger, that's not how it is. That's not how it is. So the anger here in this case is, let's say there's a stain. I don't know if on the other side there is a stain. So this stain is like the anger. So the stain, if we wash it, then it's possible to be completely washed.
그래서
Please.
제가 뒤나신 가서 그 삼로 디자다 가서 그 셈니보디야. 그 삼로 디자다 로퍼지나 깝깝. 그 기계 좋으니까 셈le 다냠도 레고 요리마도 가도 이나 셈나 드레메 되니 말이에요.
So with our minds, it's not with our minds and negative emotions. The negative emotions, they sometimes come. They come and they work together with our minds. It's not that they are always with our minds, these negative emotions.
근데 요소자 아니 삼로 디가리도 솔라 장들체 디가 고식 총론도 총로 좀 깝질이야 소소 셈다 빼드가 떼니 고 카타니 메가 참.
And because of this reason, if we practice and practice, it's possible for us to at the end be completely 100% free of this negative emotion.
다 삼로 야가리도 총아서 곰 떼니 제바이나 야지 배 도와다 가르 라와이나 고 나서 변나스고디 이게 지와이나야 담보 이게 야고 드신 거 말이야. 이나 내가 곰시 대소나 이게 배 야고 드시기도.
And why is it possible for us to develop these positive qualities, these positive states of mind? Because if we habituate ourselves, it's possible. For example, one example is with the writing. Let's say I'm starting to write and I'm just started, so my hand is not gonna go very well. It's gonna be a bit haphazard. And but if I get the habit, then it's gonna flow. Good. Those inside jokes.
대난신거 아니 어수기chen 된그 맞고 락바. 고수기chen 연소 대래야 곰시 된디 차야 요바이나 어수기체 마이비 난게 삼로라 대리경 고 zambuchola 잠바다 세발라 곰나 배 하진 게 야지 친구도야 요바데 대래tin 하고 그래서.
So our physical body, the form of our physical body, we see that it's adaptable. So if we habituate ourselves to these skills, we each and every day we get better and better, and we can develop these skills. Our mind, which is not a form, it's not a shape. Our minds, they also have this potential to habituate to positive qualities, and it's an immense potential.
No, 제가 대인 소자 로송부초라 양아서 곰시대 돈다 곰시 로상보 로상보다 나서 잠바다 세월라서 삼로상보라 곰시대 아서 곰색도 곰색나 돈다 곰시대 대와이나 까질레페 똑침보다 야보 비타고 차요레스.
So basically the meaning of the word meditation is to habituate, is to create this habit. So each and every day we habituate ourselves to thinking about love and compassion, for example. And each day this becomes more and more habituated and becomes stronger and stronger and stronger.
다양시 가르소소 저기 나르초 참말로 대완동키 장장레스. 임바이나야 나솔래야 대와춘이 소소건 도바난신데 대와춘이 용tuk기요 말레스.
용tuk기요 말레스.
대와 소소건 도바난신.
도바난신 용tuk기요 말레스.
네, 미스가 맞다. 용tuk기요 말레스.
So, and something else that he said, so we all only want happiness. All we want is happiness. But the happiness, the way we want, cannot come.
뭐야? 다 소소건 도바난신 그 대와도 용 못하바디 가르치니 용구요 말해서 대와가 규도 다바지 듭신기요 말해서 텔라티니 고 대와도 용tuk기요 말해서.
Okay, so the happiness, the way we want, it doesn't come to us. We only want happiness, but it doesn't come to us. And why doesn't this happiness come to us the way we want? It's because we are unaware. We don't know the causes of this happiness that we want.
대위 규도 다바지 듭시바이나 소소건 도바난신 그 대와데 소 나솔라 토베야 요레.
If we know exactly what is the cause, what brings about this happiness that I want, then it's naturally it comes.
다 나신 가서 등을 춘이 놓고요 말했어. 이나야 등을 문도 신다 가서라 등을 mambo 용고요.
Just like this, we don't want any suffering, but anyway, suffering comes and comes.
가르치니 용고요레.
Why does it come?
나서 등을 그 교도 mambo
Because we're constantly creating, making the causes for suffering and suffering and suffering. And what are these causes of the suffering? Just like we mentioned before, the root there's the self-grasping mind, and there's also the self-cherishing mind. And also with this, there is anger, arrogance, and all these bad minds. All these bad minds, they are the cause of suffering. And what did he say today, His Holiness? He said that for all the people, all of us, that we are under the power of this ignorance, of self-grasping and self-cherishing mind. We're not voluntarily acting, we are acting under the power of this ignorance. And for all these people, all the sentient beings who are acting under the power of this ignorance, we can only have compassion towards them. We cannot be angry at them. We can only have compassion towards these beings. And what should we understand by this? When someone harms us, or when someone does something that we don't like, or is angry at us, if we are able to think like this, then we think, oh, this person, because of his self-grasping, because of this back thing, yes, maybe I'm going to leave this close. Maybe closer to the computer. It's charging, okay. Yeah, so basically, if we're able to think that, oh, this person is acting, has a very strong self-grasping, very strong self-cherishing mind, so it's not his fault, he's acting under the power of these things. So if we are able to think like this, then our anger can go down, and it's easier for us to react with love and compassion towards these people. So being like this, what he said today, so for my sake, for my goals, what I want, and for the other people's goals, what they want, what's the best cause for the happiness of both of us here? This is compassion.
And
just like this, also bodhicitta is going to become the best thing to achieve not only our happiness, but also others' happiness. And for us also, for people like me, for people like me who are beginners in this, what's a good thing for us? If we see the benefit in this, when we wake up to practice bodhicitta, practice a little bit of bodhicitta, we think, the first thing when we wake up, today, whatever people I have to meet, I'm going to go out, I'm going to meet society and people. Whatever people I meet, I'm going to try to benefit them. I'm going to try to help them. And I'm going to try my best not to harm them. Something that he also said that is that nowadays the times are a bit poor or weak, or we also say degenerate. They're becoming degenerate times. Shall I get it into?
그래서 너 뭐지로 되기까지라 가렌티 존도 되가 배추메 바차도 와. 배추메 봐.
Yes. Okay, so this is something that I'm saying His Holiness didn't mention, but for example, nowadays we have these things like this computer, and this computer has a guarantee, right? So after a few years, this guarantee is over.
임바이나양스 똥바니 도비 셰럽당 잠니제당 장집그 셈세야들라 게렌티 조하요 말에 손손.
But this wisdom of emptiness, but this emptiness, this wisdom of emptiness, and this bodhicitta has no guarantee. It's not going to finish this effectiveness after a few years. This guarantee part is word guarantee. I said His Holiness didn't mention about guarantee.
임바이나 가르손손스니까 디츠도 가서 교리교리 누가이나 돈이 도비 셰럽다 잠바다 니제라 소바도 빼
But what did he say? It doesn't matter how degenerate are the times. The power of this wisdom of emptiness and this bodhicitta is still extremely powerful.
제산 대인 송사 나저 문이래 즉 디촌기로와 가서 샘진기로와 가서 민기로와 가서 로와 있나요? 제와도 가디나 고우도마도 다이 디름델라 제와 촌이 고우 말해.
And it's exactly like this. It doesn't matter how much the times change, people change, society change. It's not going to come a time where love is not going to be something necessary. What did he say also? That Lama Tsongkhapa and me, we are from the same region. But when Lama Tsongkhapa was here, we didn't have the science that we have today. But now that His Holiness, now that I'm here, then science is very powerful. And since during my life, having had the opportunity to have this relationship with scientists and science and psychology, from the science side and from psychology side, they liked very much this relationship. Because the scientists of nowadays, they have this quality of investigating and analyzing. They analyze what is true, what is not true. And during this dialogues with His Holiness, if they analyze that something is beneficial, something is good, then they easily adopt this. And therefore they like the relationship. So what did I understood also of this? What did I understood is that if we study psychology, not talking about future lives, but in this lifetime, I think there is a lot of benefit. And also something else that he said, so if we don't study the text on valid cognition, basically the text on logic of the Buddhist philosophy, on logic, and also this text on the philosophy of the middle way, if we don't study these two categories of texts, then many of the presentations from Buddhism, they're very hard to accept.
Dene yang chi gar song song de ngon yin keba da ngomol do la so bin keba de soos. De so ngomol do la so bin ngon yin keba. Keba mo mo. O ko so ge zebi jong de so ko so de la lo jong chi nyam nyong sa. So nyam nyong kan yo ba de la ji ja ba de.
All of these ancient masters of India, for example, Nagarjuna, they studied a lot. Not only they studied, they practiced, they had experiences, and on top of these experiences, they put these words into the text.
Tang ngaro so imba ina te tang tumbi te la lo jong che on de kan su su ge sim la njuruan ro ma thup na ani kolya lo jong che la ukuba me ba cha gres.
And if relying on this text, studying this text that they wrote, if we're not able to transform, to change our minds with this, then there's no purpose to studying this text.
Da na shin ge dan da ngaro so le ya ka re mi ge lute. Also migu luten ji tobyo re migu luten diga toni also de similar giro ji dang ma thum na ha jing ga phangbo re.
And just like this, now that for example, now that we have this very precious human body, if we don't use this body to transform our mind, it's a very sad situation.
Namjinge kartiyo se digona dan deda mare yima inange de ota te remis namjinge.
Usually, what do I draw? It's not this circle. Maybe I like a road here. So there's one person here in this road. Usually, I draw this drawing. For example, us. We are this. But we have two choices. There are two roads. The bad road and the good road.
The good road and the bad road and
and it's in your hands in which road you go.
Mother de Conjo Lavado,
Yeah, it's not in the hands of the Buddha. The Buddha is not going to come and get you by the hands and come, hey, come to the good road. Come.
Come, good road and road, good road and road.
Yes, you understood, I think.
Chiranso, good road and do samna, Chiranso, the love John Jabur. They did some lot angry. Same like Giro de Tangoris and also love John Cote.
But something that he can give us is if you want to get this good road, then this is what you have to study. This is what you need to practice. This is how you need to think, etc. All of this he can give us. You also you draw this. You maybe you can draw better than me.
Ani chunju nida nga ta nitong chogi parto ani ko choando da dinila mambo ko trobo digre mato dili niwe ta remote ando da lole da dinila ya trobo shira mambo zonyo yo mare.
Because just like I said before, until 2018, this hand of mine was not habituated to do this and to draw and also to type on the computer, etc.
Janzo chunju ni remote ya da yike ya da lole da samana. And
most of you, your fingers are already well habituated to the computer, to drawing, to writing, to taking notes.
Maya, that didn't got so.
What did he say? Whatever is in the text, in the scripture. If we're able to make a connection with our minds, with our hearts, then we are really going to understand how to change our minds. If you cannot make the connection with the scripture and your mind, this is the scripture, this is my mind, there is no relationship, there's no connection. Ngala songuyore samlo chitani ani sozo pija loayina very good. Pena sozo tep ta pena omanji ban rolona ta dinala lo kyun mombo songure yonde mombo songure odi so odi kyun so ni jig kyun so sewochini songuyore ngala songuyore samna sozo la pendo chimbo yore. And if you're able to, for example, reading the scriptures, in this case the entering the middle way, if you're able to look at the scripture and feel, because in the scripture he's saying many faults, many qualities, and if he says a fault and you can feel, oh, he's telling me that I have this fault, he's talking to me, he's telling me this and this. Then there's a lot of benefit.
어나다 가서요. 다 대다 백깔에 가고도 대다 촌이 깔리 가고도 우선이요. 가서 가시가지 빼나 니제 공고 니제 백깔에 가고도 라야지도. 그래서 담보 야노지 손주샤. 양 대제양 지마들라. 가서 백깔에 가고도 우선 샤마샤지. 안텔라 양니 로종지 냠레지 꿈지 된다. 갑질라 리라오 차그레스.
And sometimes you can think, oh, these things they're so hard, these texts are so hard, and also compassion, to develop this compassion, it's so hard. And it's something else that His Holiness said today that can be hard. It's hard in the beginning, but if we go again and again through this power of habit, of habituation, then it gets easier and easier and easier.
거기 나 춘주 가블라스 가는 거지. 그런 춘주 임비 가블라 어때페 차본도 백깔리 가본도 삼비 근데 루몽보지 갈리 텔레콤지 때오니까 리라오 차기도 보세.
He said also today that when he was also a child, when he was beginning to study, he also had the same thoughts. Oh, this is too hard. Oh, all of these things are so hard. But with each passing year, it got easier and easier.
Then 전지 글론도 동서 전지 곰나 라브르면 제 영우다 영우대 강아요 말. 디비 등을 총고비 너바 친구 수버 주다 쇼로 같이 요래. 가르즈는 소소 야가 총로 곰나요? 곰소나 리라오 차그레스. 야 누가 총로 곰나요? 곰소나 리라오 차노 그레스.
And also what Shantideva said in the Bodhisattva Charyavatara, he said, I cannot translate directly the quote that he just recited. You understood? But he said, if we habituate ourselves to the positive side, it gets easier and easier. If you habituate ourselves to the negative side, it also gets easier and easier.
Penang ngadawadela karlilawo yore, control ke lilawo, docha lilawo toni kietore. Ta inaya te karchirezi tikana. Kula kumshi mambo doya sonza lilawo chago.
For example, for me and for those like me, what is easy for me? What is easy for me? To get angry. It's very easy. I can get angry instantly. Why? Because I have habituated myself getting angry again and again.
Imba inayo ninje ta janjo sem la soba ani ngala lilawo yo. Karrezna ngatelaya kumshi yo.
But for me, compassion, bodhicitta, these things, they don't come so easy. I go there and meditate. And why they're not easy to come to me? Because I didn't habituate myself.
They so the Naruto Kazu to the Kumshi, there's a Kumshi Yamare, la Julo Zambuchola, Kumshi Chism, Dentova di Somko, could nobody cherry, Kapjila, Lila Chagre.
Because of this, each day, if we can habituate ourselves, create the habit of thinking the positive side, of developing these positive qualities, then each day, they grow in power. They become stronger and stronger within you.
Yeah, 당에 고소도 돼. 익센트로서.
So this is what I understood. Did I pass the exam?
100 말아? 가서. 어찌. 네. 데레베. 레고. 오, 레고. 잘 지났어.
So if you have any questions, one question.
Obviously. So the Dalai Lama today was talking about this age of downfall.
Okay.
And he kind of said we shouldn't try to protect ourselves from things. And I was wondering, is this the same thing that Geshe was talking about last week about the enduring suffering, or was the Dalai Lama talking about something else? Because I'm not completely sure.
So the Tsering como soy na Tsering con sa choyang angana so jawa na chu karina angana so sungyop chego mare angana so ki suko ya angana so ki sem sungyop chego mare di kerang kasang kerang penso kang kerang angana so ngulen kay mare nungel dude lempa sopa
do
nungel talen sopa di jawa yore pe
손줍치 고 말해.
Sungyopche komare di kon sumsam. Dutse gyo namla.
손줍치 고 말해.
We don't need to protect ourselves from things, he said.
소소 셈다.
Our minds, we don't need to protect our minds, but he said.
like I only could listen to the German translation,
Mm.
so I can only interpret this one. And he said kind of something like he said something similar in Ladakh already. That there will be more and more like
Pensando em sou que eu vou e cheguei do já não vai yongire nenhum so shaben chegou mare
engage with the situation.
era só que
Afterwards, he started with a compassion topic, but I was wondering if this like not protecting ourselves, engaging with the downfalls, if that is like the same thing he was talking about last week.
ninja colação são de chela e não conhece cheguei de sofrer de só que eu não lá ani cheguei do já não vai lebgire ani cheguei de soling e só sungyo chegou mare
저때 82년 말에 사무도 얼졸에 비디수
But he didn't
교
just
갑라
talk about demon
소소레
possession.
쉽게 누가 간디 레와이나 소소에 네가 찬도고 손때 소주 니버드 제고 뭐니잖아
That we should
그
like
디수 두아
not try to
도보
protect
두아
ourselves.
디디 원드 마송와라 소소 니버드
We should
디 원드 마송이 소소주
face
제고
them kind of.
I think that's not I think that's not the case. I think that's not the case. I think if in the general times, in the bad times, and if we need to protect ourselves, then I think we should protect ourselves.
디딩아 디리 장무치 디디 80 소소 디디 디수 두아 까블이야 소소 손주 제고 말이 디디 일단 내 마고이나 하고 무슨 이나 나 대촌이 고민도
Maybe I didn't. I'm sure. I don't know if he said or not. I didn't hear him saying that. In this degenerate times, in these bad times, that we don't need to protect ourselves against negative influences. I didn't hear this.
다 지지나 가르송 요래
Maybe what did he say?
단다 가다기 가서 라 진진당 단전이가 원도 송비 강사 간디지 임바이나요 또서 파가서 소소라 송주 용리지 또서 파 비야도다 나서 딘디 제거레스 딘디 제야요 말레스 뭐니지나 콜라 니지 제거레 코츠 나서 니지 요레마도 파 비야도 딘디 말레스 대송요다.
Maybe something that he said that maybe is related to this. Maybe there's a relationship. So before we say that all these ancient beings, all these people, they're under the control of ignorance, of this self-grasping and self-cherishing mind, and then they come and they say bad words to us, they harm us, they attack us. So sometimes the way we protect ourselves is through anger. So the self-protectiveness so reflects through anger. And this he said that we don't need to protect ourselves with anger, and that these people that are acting through ignorance and anger, etc., they're actually objects of our compassion, not anger. Maybe it's related.
맞죠. 원다 딘디 소비가라 뭐라 가라 요레지디가라 오마소 용원에 가서 송주 비체다 게르토 게르토지디가라 다 베가서 로도바 치니도서 저는서 파주 원신이들라 노바 마치에서니 딘디 게르토 타요. 여러분이 가서 송르스 뜻sol래야 게르토 타니 코소파 비에도 딘디 제고요 뭐 고마레스 코소야 대원들 등물문도 같이 봐요 송사 코소 지파 비 딘디지 나서 소소 송주 그치에도 코소 파비 고연도 딘디요 마레스 가스님이 코소 원이가 나라도 바치나 까까라 딘디 송베 나라 어떤 몸이죠.
So something that His Holiness he says he does sometimes in empowerment, in initiations here and wherever he teaches. So before the initiation begins, there's something that's called Getor. I don't know how to translate this, but it's an offering that you make in order for a torma that you offer in order for these negative spirits, these harmful spirits, for them not to come and to throw them, to make them go away. For negative spirits to go away, so they don't come to harm.
Initiation into what?
Initiation, they're tantric, it's a tantric thing. Initiation into tantra. Sorry. So then to this he said, no, there's no need for us to protect ourselves like this, throwing themselves, making them distant, because all these spirits, they want happiness, they don't want suffering, so we don't need to do this offering to make these negative spirits go away.
나도나 그 대원도 지나가서 너희가 초반으로 torma 잠바게 되니 우선 그래서 상마가를 콜 녀바 다 제가 녀바도 키니
So basically, as an easy way to understand, so what is this torma? So this torma is like something to eat. It's made out of tsampa, something to eat. So basically, what we do, we give them this tsampa, and we say, okay, here's this gift for you. Now you go eat it. Go eat it somewhere else. Yeah. Like this, we don't need to do, he said. Because if we are practicing these tantric teachings, if you're a tantric practitioner, then we need to have this great compassion. We need to have a very powerful, this great compassion in our mind stream. And if we have this very powerful compassion that is called great compassion, then the way we react when someone harms us or when someone uses us for something, we don't protect ourselves like this, throwing the person away. We are able to endure the harm and use this in a beneficial way. Apart from this, I didn't hear something else. Sorry.
Question.
Yes, please.
Okay. This is from yesterday's class and Geshe Gyaltsen's class and today. Combination.
Okay.
Okay, so how can we experiences with, like, what mindset do we need to use to experience experiences with a sense of this wisdom of selflessness? So with the kind of mindset of how can we experience eating?
Okay, so how? So just
Like, what mindset
how
do
should
have
we?
to have?
How should we think? What mindset to have? What should we think to apply in our daily lives this wisdom of selflessness?
Exactly.
Like this. Ningaran sige samlo tantang kola di dami pakola dami pe shirab. Nanuski kari tsoa giwe kabla penangaran so sama kabla. Mare penangaran so ni mare penangaran so yanam di mitse giwe kabla ani dami pe shirab dan nyamju kan samlo tang kan ta samlo tangore doare.
가서 저런 목이 지나나래 벌지 주요래 다디 가면 저런 요나면 주등 땅안로 임바이나 팬도 제쇼 가르도 지금 소소 담마시 제단가 나로라들이 삼로다네 망치야다 텐데게 돌아 삼로이나 팬도 제쇼 지용도 삼도 담보 맞춰 람사 동바니세야데 롤레셔테세 가고래 임바인 추간이 지바 데바 등을다 추간이 지바 그 텐데 가랑신 로탄기 tan기제나.
So in my opinion, usually in our daily lives, it can be hard to go straight into emptiness, to think about emptiness. So I think it's very good to think more and more about interdependent origination, interdependence.
rangiya che doa samlo de lemna ani ti dungor de chong de so semba ma kipa yong de yong de koso karre de tende la samlo tana pendo kar yore lamna ta so la kangi chi chong wi ka kangi de juchi de ken chi la teni chong ba mare.
Okay, so for example, when we think of interdependence, we can think about our problems. So we have a problem, and if we think about where did this problem come from, how does it arise, how does it come into be? So there's not just one cause or one conditions. There are many causes and conditions for us to think.
Yeah. 다 오늘 유치당 계치라 되는 정보만이나 가 간도 가져라 되는 정보 유 몽보 게 몽보라 되니 정보레스.
So if it's not just one cause or just one condition, then how many conditions and causes there is? There are many causes and many conditions.
다디 유 몽보다 게 몽보 디나라 삼로당나 지지나 소소고 레가 몽보 지티 유 나노라 요 시그레스.
So maybe if you think about all these causes and all these conditions, all this vast number, maybe among these causes and conditions, you had a hand in many of them. You had a hand on those.
다 소소라 강에 용야 디게 유티 나노라 소소고 소샹주고 유 몽보 지고 바이나 코 짱발라 콘도자야무도.
And if you get
마키바소야무도.
and if when problems come, if you can see that many of these causes and conditions were actually in your hand because of your actions, then this is gonna harm. Then it's not gonna be so reasonable for you to be angry, 100% angry at the other side that's giving you problems, the other person.
단 너디샤바네 텐데기 촐라 삼로만세 탄탐나 땅아로나 펜도 치부두.
In brief, yeah, maybe if you think more about this interdependent origination, at least for me, it's very beneficial.
When I read the Gompo Rapsel and Umla Jumpa, they're both structured around the bhumis in the past, but they seem so abstract and distant. It's really hard for me to relate to that usefully in my practice.
I'm gonna so benanga ngajashana ngau manjupalodu ani kari pachin jula dewa yere inayo pachi judan dewa ni tik the songa gogyu nanshin shagire aninga tik the sotatanga di karingi semla dewa soya yana nyalem chia di kale kapere san gogyu nanshin shagire nala
베나 저는 오마지가 데 베나 심지 담보 나로 로바이나 심지 담보 나로 텐데 제원데 칼래야 아니 고 짐바 고 짐비 페이온다 아니 짐비 모 가리임바다 저 참마도 오마지가 치코로 나로라 안티니 가르자 동을.
In the for example, in the entering the middle way, in the first mind generation, the first chapter about the perfection of generosity, there he has written about the benefits of generosity, the nature of generosity, etc.
고 가르레스 디가나 디나니마 데니진데 로온데 가라 디가 까고 짐바도 유게 사 당보고 까고 짐바데지 지미냐블링 센 톰보도 송고 봐 임바이나 나츠고 삼로 가르당 거레스 대당 지선 톰바데 소소고 셈라야마 데와소 고요 송자 단데 사당보고 짐바 난신데 소소고 냠레 제트고 메바 인 송자 대당 지선 톰비 냠레 다 소소고 빼나 알야네 그 추포바 가이나 잔달라야 봐 데알라야 오 지비 냠레 제요 삼비도 너니 추롱니도 이번 그 소소고 셈 그런 정보도니 추트야 다 가스님이 딘디 때 마타바 이나 소소 삼로고 토니 지금 가수도 지금 담보 삼로라 장들치가 있나.
And then he writes mainly about the perfection of generosity as it's actualized in the first bhumi. So a very high level of practice of the perfection of generosity. And these are things that we can make a connection for our actions to be in concordance, to be in concordance to achieving these levels of the perfection of generosity as they have in the first bhumi. And then we can make a connection with these high levels of generosity also when we practice generosity, for example, giving things to people, or even if we cannot give things to people, just when we are visualizing our practice of generosity.
다나신가 소소가 강 심바데 소소 가르 신규요바 있나 끼리 신규나 가르 신규나 오 드소 소소 셈바 정보 돈이 미샹다 마신기 소래 스지니 딘디 라비아가 그런 예 콜라 라비 삼비 셈바 정보 돈이 딘디 제바 있나요 고 짐바페 미신이 짐비냠네 야고지 자고요.
And just like this, also a very good practice of generosity is based on your education, whatever education you have, for example, whatever languages you know, whatever you know. If you can help those who don't know these things, offering your skills, that's also very good practice.
Yeah. 다나 신고 변나 semje 갑리야 아니 추tum도 송도 원도 있는 추tum 레셴 메스디가나 아니 고 변나만초 리틴 디디지 토발래야 추tum도 게 쳔보레스.
And also in the second mind generation, where he talks about the perfection of moral ethics, then he said that this moral ethics is very important for us to have the support of this body, this human body.
당하로 주 가르쳐거든 변나 먹기 주본 그 술치. 디나니 리지고니 소소고 소쇼 돈바 아니 로임 돈바 아니 마지막렘바 돈바 근데 제형도 가는 유게 호모지고 나라 semje 니바나라 간송비 추점당 지선 덤비 그 호모지비 semje 니바도 소소고 sem바니 보도 돈다 제가 차요.
And also then in this perfection of moral ethics in the second mind generation, the second chapter, he writes about the 10 non-virtues, right? He writes about non-killing, non-stealing, and no sexual misconduct. And he goes about telling the benefits and about these non-virtues. And these non-virtues are something that we can, whatever level we are, we can connect our minds to what he's saying in the text. We can put this into practice.
아니 semje 니바나라 zobi nyamle de shiwonde zobi nyamle de sombala kontro ge nyam zobi ge do semje somba nalola ani zobi nyamle de sombala zobi ge kapte kontro ge nyam de somdo kontro ge nyam de somde kan jenda tunjo ge ba karba ja sakba keji kinjo di mozole je bi ba yo ma yense ta din de tsig ta de tsig de in the issue.
And also in the third mind generation, he talks about the perfection of patience, and he goes through the disadvantages of anger.
제가 대해서 아주 컨트롤사나 소존도 비켜 차요바 다디 도쇼도 조바곰나 미드란신 그 장보 미창마가 통되고 차야 다 딘디가 양 냠레 몸보죠 송거와 대당 텀바 소소게야 대제 조바 만세 곰바이나
For example, one thing that he says that if someone is always angry or someone is always with a bad humor, this person is very unattractive to other people. The face of the person becomes unattractive. You know, you don't want to look at this person. If someone has patience, then this person is attractive. People want to look at you. People want to talk to you, etc.
That's 소소고 파마당 소소고 딱 로바당 조보라 소바도 가조 톱도 그 소바 곰텀나 아니 셈게 선바도 소소고 셈니데
And if we are in relationship to our parents, our father, mother, our family, our friends, whoever is close to us, if we are able to practice patience in our daily lives, that's making the connection between this third chapter of the entering the middle way and our minds. And like this, all the chapters there is, but maybe if I keep talking about all of them.
Hello.
So, can Geshe explain about the power of thinking in the times of AI, artificial intelligence, and in these times, how can we use such power of thinking for the benefit of human beings?
The power of thinking of human beings, or the power of thinking of artificial intelligence, or both?
In the sense that I mean, if I'm clear in my thoughts, I mean, the power of thinking in general, I mean, Buddhist philosophy has always spoken about the power of thinking even before the invention of AI. Even before AI came into existence, Buddhist philosophy has, spoken to us about how, I mean, they say that what we think we become. And that thinking has a very magnifying impact in our body. So I just want Geshe to talk about the power of thinking.
The power of thinking.
Yes,
and
in
then
the sense that Geshe said that, if we are compassionate, if we are positive, we attract positive energy, right? We attract positive vibration, in the sense of spirits.
Okay.
I mean, if we fall under the influence of negative spirits, is there a chance? I mean, because we think very negative, but is it like we think negative, we fall under the power of negative spirits,
Okay, so your question is the power of thinking, the power of thinking, and related also to the power of our thinking of attracting good things.
Yes.
Or our power of thinking when attracting bad things.
Yes.
So okay. Den konden takiran tis keris samlotang e nyupa de shegaptumna 아니 공기 하고 땅카리스나 benanganonso ninje tone samlo tangna ani pena shugen zampo nganonso la yongire ani koyong pena yang mima impa zampo fondi lapsan imba impa zampo benanganonso pena controla tone samlo tangna ani pena ngona kiran noche kana getor la ani mima impa duja banyana nojen duja yongire ani di chokne kiran samla tangwe nyupa sumtumna ani chala koyan dilap samdi de samla tang we nyupe jitang yang kiran dikolas sumtumna samla tang we nyupa
Add something. I mean, I just want to know how is thinking so powerful? I mean, since time
de shena kantai shene samlo tang we nyupa chimpo yore kantai chene di yongire ngans ki sem nyupa chimpo yore samlo tang nyupa chimpo yore di kantai yongire
알레오 samlo de dana susu sem de niba chimbo yore seaga dindi tambuni yomare dindi yona pena samlo didi chitana ko lamsa niba chimbo chagre seade yung maresi samlo de yona ma tambuni de tande na dirwa inaya samlo seade kazani se bange kazama so dig buchunju yana gaso de chunala gegega yana buchunju ama buchunjula de komba jablo labi kabla ko kani jinirmado tena yang aso samlo tele ya rimbi tini dogore mat namsa o ndi samlo dana kerang sim lamsa niba chemu chagres ndiso samlo dana te kale niba yongore ndi samlo dana pe niba chemu chagres tini lamsa tini yongore vesana te yomase.
So first about the power
kerang tiwa tata ko yona.
Yeah. So first about the power of thinking, about our thinking being powerful, we cannot think that our thinking, it gets powerful through what we said before, through habituation. So in the beginning, if you think one thing just one time, just thinking about this thing one time is not going to be a powerful thought, right? The power of thinking also comes through this habituation. The more stronger and stronger it gets within your mind.
Dai zuwut semla niba chimbo de kandi sogore lamna kandi chini yungore lamna zuwut penanga so nyinjen de la pesha nyinje de kombi rimba da so la lojong ya oje lojong da nyam de soso ge semda dreva zo bi ton pasho junguna na kan somba nanjing soso nyima re la ta manta yimbi tema sum shi nga tu joki nyingung gonda ta gonda ina yang pe mani yu mola din samlo mombo ta din chini ta dawa lo din chini tundi dowa ina ka chile ya pasho nyinje de soso ge semba nibo de tropo. And how
does a thought becomes powerful in our mind? So a thought becomes powerful. Let's say, take for example, compassion. So compassion, first we look into the text, what people are saying, how to develop compassion. And we see and we learn about compassion, we put some effort into this, and then we make this connection with our mind. Then we have to connect ourselves with this teaching. And then making this connection, we meditate, we habituate ourselves, thinking about this, meditating on compassion. One time, 2 times, 3 times in the morning, afternoon, night. And then we do this for 1 week. And then this week becomes a few months. And then after a few months, we do it for a few years. And after a few years, if you do this for a few years, for some years, then by the end of this time, this compassion, this thought of compassion is going to be very powerful within your mind.
That same niba chemo chayaga tavlam yakshu kararela vaina gumshite the yakshu is gumshite na sozo same the niba chemo chagreta tavlam ku chali samotana yakshu the karezina gumshite.
And what is the best method for our thinking, our thoughts to become powerful is habituation. Depends on habits.
Sozo same the karela niba chemo chagona tetan dela sozo same the gumshite na.
If you rely on habits, on creating habits, good habits, that's going to make things very powerful for you, your thoughts.
I really want to thank Geshe about something. That since I've come to McLeodganj, I did not know anything about a Buddhist philosophy. I didn't know anything about Buddhist philosophy, to be honest. I had no idea about Buddhist philosophy. I came here to work in a Tibetan NGO. Then when I started learning Buddhist philosophy, I mean, the concepts that we are learning, trust me, it will be with us for a lifetime. We can use such concepts in the present context if we understand, for example, understanding causes and conditions, not believing what we see or hear, but trying to reason, So I think these things with Buddhist philosophy is giving us is something which is really important in today's world that we understand or limiting thoughts, in the sense that, and as what Geshe said about habits, right? I think meditation is a very important habit, right? My personal experience, I feel I'm in a rush.
곰세티가 고치고보다는
I feel that I need to meditate, and in the sense that everything seems like a rush, and it has always been all this while. So I think if you agree with me, that help us tackle these challenges. I mean, it's so difficult to understand, it's very complicated. Conditions which we are here, so I think what we are studying is very, very important.
That's nice.
I was mind blown when I learned these concepts.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I was like, what was I doing all this while? It's like, really mind blown. I really want to thank Geshe Lama
Yeah, thank you.
for the
Thank
저랑 뭔지 잖아. 저랑 인디아인 손자 부디 가서 샤자무니 인디아래. 옛날에 뭔지 잖아. 저랑 게트 게임바인 손자 인디아 가서 산지 전에 네가 강송받아 저랑 야고 고고르다.
Actually, you're Indian. Our teacher Buddha is also an Indian. So you have a very special connection. So whatever he taught, you need to understand very well. You need to study.
나저 저베텐도서 부다가 게트 사바.
We are the new students. As Tibetan's, we are the new students of the Buddha. You're the old student.
다 오늘 나저 상로 갈당고 요새 산지 준den디 시디가라 남비 톰바도 드니 상로 마당하지 산지 준den디 세야데 지당게 체니 코 샘금 체릭바지당 나저 삼로 당당 토려야 코베 개바지 인디 삼로 당바이나 알레 콩 가르시오레 콩 데세야도 나라 내와 가르도 어디니 그 삼로 몸보지 가서 땅 통으로 봐.
And how should we think too? So the Buddha, we say Buddha Shakyamuni, he came to this earth, and we say that he gave Buddhist teachings. We shouldn't understand like he gave Buddhist teachings in the scriptures. He gave teachings about the psychology of the mind. He gave teachings about science, about how he perceived, how he analyzed reality to be. So if we are able to be unbiased in this way, have this open mind, then we can go there. We can look at the words, what he thought, what he analyzed, what did he say, and see, oh, that's beneficial. Maybe this is right.
마도 깎아랑아서 나서 삼로가 임지에서 나 수수 나 낭바이 나 인도이 나 가지 나 이슈 다 디니가 배 수수 삼로 당사디 오 샤자면에서 데 남바가 돈바리 남바 졸라 펜도 송구요레스 이슈 데 이슈 돈바여서 이슈 졸라 펜도 용야 짱짱 송구요레스 그래서 삼로 디니 배 임지지.
Yeah. If we have this mind that this discriminates, this mind that, for example, oh, I am a Buddhist, so whatever Jesus has said, oh, that's for the Christians. That's for the benefit of the Christians. I don't look into this. Or we think, yeah, oh, I'm a tanana, and so oh, the Buddha said this. Oh, no, that's Buddhist. That's for the Buddhists. Things like this.
나는 그 냠용고 토닝알라 가리올라 비가나 이슈가 줄그 어떤다. 그래서 보이게 돌아 겨자니 뎁춘주지 보이게.
In my experience, there is a book from Christianity. I'm not sure which one it is, but they translated it to Tibetan, a very small one.
네 땡고니 직바도 로이.
I read from the beginning. I read this.
디나니 알라야 펜도 망부 정소.
And actually, there was a lot of benefit for my mind.
다가나 그 힌두 라마 친구지가 손비 양알라 인지 돈이 대치 단단가 무기 레콩가로 냐려.
And also I have in my office I have a book from a ancient master of the Hindu religion. I have in my office, but it's in English.
니 니 계절 보면 단다 보기 아주 단다 부부도 맞아. 저한테 참아도 니버들로 아니 나라 티나니 돈도 참아도 나라 대시 잡쇼.
But I told to my translator in the library in my office, I told to my translator, you get this book, you read everything, and then you tell me what's important, what did you find out?
티나니 그런 거 배로 나라 대시 잡 오늘 전이요. 배 펜도 망부.
And when she read and then she told me, she was telling me, she was teaching me about this, very beneficial, very good.
그래서 나로 참이 알라바 친구 가서 앞에 샘체 잔다라 만들 알라바 친구 요소다 가서 삼로 고향 제거해. 그것도 삼로 구수 도보나리 안주나 소소레 시오라고 말해.
Compared to other animals, we have a very big brain. We have very big brain compared to other animals. So we have to think, I have an open mind. We have to have a vast way of thinking, not this narrow way of thinking.
I have two questions.
If
there's only time for one, I can say the other.
It's okay.
First one is, what was the Dalai Lama saying at the very beginning about the chant we were doing?
Consacho di ngona di tomala con di molam kola di sonso di karisons.
오, 몰럼 골라 다기게 라이바. 몰럼 세야데 레와 세야데 직과 상무다는 지그레스 소소 그레와 야나 소소 몰럼.
So he was saying what I said before, that our prayers or our hopes, they're the same thing. He said
Oh, that
something
was
about
about
this.
that.
Yeah.
다 지가라 송송스 공사초 가라지 맞아 컨트롤 gelé 제비 준비 그 타인 로베레와 공유스 다 직접이 현재 깔리가 공도가 오다 돈다 산지 준데 디기양 레와다 모놈도 가르자브레 지부 푸슨 촉바징알라 고군두스 돈다 지부 푸슨 촉바징알라 톱소나 니 제몽보지라 펜도체 통두스 다
And then
산지 준데 디 레와다 모놈 가르자브레 나란 지부 푸슨 촉바지 산지 준데 디 모놈 가르자브레 나란 지부 푸슨 촉바지 톱고 가르자브레 산 지부 푸슨 촉바 톱나 제몽보랑이 펜도체 통
So he was saying about how the Buddha Shakyamuni, he had these hopes, he had these prayers, and he used to pray. So may I get this result? So may I get this excellent result, this very excellent, you have this excellent state of mind. And through this, may I be able to benefit, help other people.
산지 준데 니가 지부 푸숨 촉바지라 레와 잡 모놈 잡니 대 잡아 나신데 지부 푸숨 촉바 인송서 지 푸숨 촉바지 두바리 거르고 노종지 냠니 제바리
And then he was saying how he had this prayers and he had these hopes for this thing. And because he had these hopes, so he also engaged in the work, he engaged in the studies and practice. What was your... Sorry?
Are we referring to mantra or like just positive intention?
생각자 말이
No, it's not
생각자
mantras.
말이 생각 인증 생각 보고 말이
Not
근데
just
결혼도
mantras.
인바이나 결혼 네 파마니라 아니 지금 뭐지 다 고분 자물리라 가서 되와 다 어디라 배 대체다 된바 쇼배 야고 용화 쇼배 대보 등무 마용화 대와 용화 쇼가 삼나 예 다가랑 몰음 다레바레
It doesn't have to be just the mantras. Also, for example, if you think, may my parents, may my father and mother, may they meet with happiness in their lives. May they be free from the suffering that they have. This is the
배나가르서 모모 신부 자니 쪽이었나 모모 기차도 모모 딱비딱보 요나 모모 신부라고 요송가 모모 기차대 기차 샤다다 이나로 리가 모모 요로 오 기차도 뭐 가서 뭔가 조나 모모도 비딱보 요그러와.
For example, about prayers, like if we have the wish, we really want to eat momos, then we have to go there and get the ingredients, and we can get the dough, cheese, etc. And then we make the momos and we get what we have.
배대나지 산지 준데 니게요. 고 지부 포숨 속바지 고도 대기 포숨 속바지 쭉 딘디 제니코 야야야 나서 나시 담보 나다 직발 산지 준데 니가니 직발 임바 단단가 등을 꺼내라 하드 산지 준데 니 상상기리 코 심절 몸을 펜도고리 가르치리 나니 디파리 가르스 고 교상부 mambo 주발라더니 지부야고 톱사이. 네 유득자마도 기야고 마도지는 아단단들라 하도.
Yeah, so he was saying that Buddha Shakyamuni, he had his hopes, his aspirations to reach these stages, and he actually did the work. He actually created the causes, and he did everything that was necessary to get to this state. At this time, before the Buddha and me, we were exactly the same. We were the same. What's the difference? Why am I not a Buddha? Because the Buddha, he accumulated these good causes, and I was there accumulating bad causes.
주연이봐?
The second question, yes.
When I hear about the different realms in samsara, I get the impression that the human and animal realm are the only two. The animal realm is the only one overlapping with the human realm. But then are these spirits that we think about and interact with, are they from the other realms, or is that something else that's in our space?
Listen. Ani penangi kamnga dari nani pena dudo mi idag niwa dinda samotana ni pena dudo dong mi sacha tikla de yore dewa ani dene idag niwa de chokran so di sacha shempala yosari ni mi main pa de so kapkalangrang so pena di consacho di wongla get kuran so par kuran so
가요.
그래서 카리레야 사차
Hello.
예레베 카리레 소 카리레
그래. 알레 단다 넘버 추조 덤바 선상이요. 넘버 차지 연인도 되네나. 앞에는 그거요.
So now
그래서 양 지가 뭐 보여나 가서
So now it's 7 o'clock, so if anyone has any plans, anyone is hungry, anyone wants to go eat, please, you feel free. Don't feel shy. You can just get up, get your shoes and go. If there are any more other questions, you can keep going, or whoever wants to stay.
공도 가디나니 디소데 베 시와도 몸보지 디소데 다다 용은 가르스 시행 개발 메인 손자 담신 개발 많이 손자 아니 가디는 베 하루
I'm sorry, anytime I have a class, then I always cross the time. I always go more. Why is that? Because I don't know how to explain correctly. I am not efficient in my words.
Geshe, I have a question.
네, 단다.
Sorry, he has a second question. Yes.
예, question.
Yeah.
당은 저 지단가 전에 nombi shungunang 로아 릭릭도 하정게 자친구 제거리 아주 단다이나 옆에나 로아 릭릭가 내사를 그 코리데 네 자본이 지구 말로 자본이 난신 빼 나음에 바까지셔.
Yeah, so usually when we talk about the 6 realms of samsara, this is something very vast, it's something very extensive. It's not just talking about this word, it's talking about countless and countless words that exist.
임바이나양 주어데 감숨 삼로탄샤다 야가요. 도감 스미 감숨 삼로탄나 야가요.
I think it's better if we think about maybe you have heard of the desire realm, the form realm, and the formless realm.
다디나니 도바세 디나노라 가조요레 라바이 도바세 디나노라
So inside the desire realm, what's inside the desire realm? This one.
도컴라 가리오르자 냐와 이다 든로 미 아니 돌하 릭트 그래서 사마다 도바바레.
So inside the desire realm, we have the hell beings, the hungry ghosts, the animals, the humans, the gods, etc. This one. Yes, they are in the desire realm. Yes, in the desire realm.
What were the 3? Sorry.
Desire realm, formless realm.
So all 6 that we refer to in
Are the
samsara
desire realm.
the desire realm.
Yeah.
Okay.
야, 다 zukham zeade yang ko ajo di sada di sajala te mago yo sonza ko banala ane togo yo sonza zukham zenya kamchichi.
So then there's this form realms, and they don't abide, they don't stay in places like us. They stay more like he said in the sky or in space or somewhere else.
다
Form realm, yeah.
스페 그 셈제 세리가 그 콜라 네 무시메 인송다 고 스메 인송다 아니 무시메도 고 가가 있는 요죠.
The beings from the formless realm, they don't have form, so they also don't have a place to stay. It doesn't make sense this. for them.
네, 가서 네, 도컴, zikam, zimikam. 단
So
도컴
here I have desire realm, from realm, formless realm.
장고 그리도 저 상마데 도컴 봐.
The green here is the desire realm.
Can we put this in the fruit after?
Yeah.
Okay.
The green here is the desire realm. Maybe it's in Tibet.
Yeah.
아니 네 영께서 지도데 zikam.
And
네
then,
zim메도 강라 지샤르마도 zim메라 무슨 네요 말아 zim메 가사가 왜나 디리 단단히 컴바나로 zim메게 심지 몸부 요초고리.
and then there's in red there was the form realm, and also in white there was the formless realm. In the formless realm, they don't have form, so they don't have a place where they abide, where they live. Maybe here with us there are many beings from the formless realm.
임마 있나요? 다 주지 신고야 가르래 지디가나 딘디 로어 리만다와 몸부지 로어 리트. 디 간이치니 용고를 주 소소가 남식은 로탄데. 남시자데 야보 샤투 남식은 로탄데 야보 시소나 그래서 리라오 토니 샤투 로아도. 남시 야보 샤마시나 단 로어 리트자데 간이 데시 gam나 델레요레 맞아 미치임바이나 델라투 랍 초고도 봐. 로아 샤나도 데 가지가지 냐와다 지금 갈하도 무슨 통야 메송자 데시 잡고 남식은 로탄 시소나
So basically about the 6 realms of existence, the 6, not 6 realms, the 6 types of beings, right? How beings, hungry ghosts, etc.
Yeah.
So something that I think that's very important to understand also, first to understand this, is about the nature of consciousness, the nature of the mind. If we don't understand what is the nature of the mind, then it's very hard to accept or to understand how is posited the existence of all these beings. Because now, for example, it's very easy for us. Oh, I see a form here. I see a body. Okay, there is a person here. But if there is no body, if, for example, the beings that we cannot see with a direct perception, then if we don't understand about the mind, the nature of the mind, then it's hard to accept the existence of these beings.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't really answer because I was asking what are the spirits that we interact with? Is that the ones from this?
Yeah,
from
desire.
they're all coming from the desire?
Ni kung gito pena mi mai pa dit so pena gito ke ngala la sande ni semjen dit so di do kam ne be so kam ne be so me kam ne be ko so khai de
도금 단다 디게터 땅 고사도서 도금 말.
the one that, for example, when we say before that in the ritual to expel these ancient beings, they are from the desire realm.
Okay.
베나 양의 저널 직질라나. 베나 저 파스 방아 나서도 지나 마동 신도니까나 파도 알레 키누. 파도 알레 키위 까블야 마초 나신가 칼라 라바드 코 자투메인소다 나초 가르치고리에스 잠바데 다양 텔레 초가다니 코 모아지니 멜타 샤바인 멜타 세리가나 코 디티마데 나조 칼라자 나지 그런 거 칼라데 디 티마 멜타니 코 디티바이나 코 카디 자투고리 멜마타니 잠바 카디 콜테나 코 자투고마.
There's also a being when after we die, maybe you've heard, after we die we go into the bardo, so we become a bardo being. And there are all these bardo beings, and what we do is they cannot eat. They don't have mouth to eat. And so something that we do, for example, we burn barley or we burn sampa, and then we make some prayers, some dedications for these beings, and then they can feed themselves through the smell. They can feel the smell of this burning offerings.
It's also a desire realm being.
Desire realm being the bardo so young do come. Yes, desire realm.
오래 다 파도 달라 니르다.
Actually, there are two.
스컴레야 파도요.
There's also in the form realm, there's also bardo beings.
스컴레야 파도요레. 스금메라 파도요.
In the formless realm, there are no bardo beings.
Gisela, one last question. Gisela, when we think about the middle way, what are the 3 concepts we should keep in mind whenever we, think about the middle way? Like 3 important definitions of the middle way.
Tompani kung umalabso ina na yung tompani kapatugire tompani yana samlo tauna ani samlo sum kiran samlo sum tumna samlo sum ganon so lola ni padu shagore zingore samlo sum
다 삼노숨 그 나니 동보 가장 아주 무긴 진단하는 시바나시리 오마세야 들려야다 라바라바 돈이 삼로 담바이나 소소 가디나 레가 다니마레레게 레가 카라 지고번 디레가데 장부 장샤치 시바이나 대양 오마세가 리라오 돈이 삼로 지다요 레스 소소 레가 제당
내가 지당 정보.
소소 레가 제당 들어와
So
레가 제당 정보 가제 제당 정보 지바 되어이나요 오마지 차되고 레스
about the middle way. So something that I talked before about this, about the middle way. So the first thing is we can also understand the middle way. For example, if you think about in your daily life about your need to be sincere in your or honest, sincere, honest in your actions and your speech. That we can also understand as being middle way.
penanga sundela pesharwa de chini khade dena o trambo chidu sitikala donda kila tata de tures ene de pa de yana de chona ko de zen ta karo na cho ko cho cha du site ode din soza mar cho ka je shetan le ka shetan sama de trambo ka su chetwaina kanza ke itada la de tu du site kanza de umas.
For example, one way that we can understand this word that he used, like a straight, to be straight in your actions, to be straight in your words. It makes sense. So, for example, here now we can see that this pen is very straight. If you go to this side, then it's not so straight. If you go this side, not so straight. So that's why this straight place is the middle way. So if you're able to make our actions and our words straight like this, acting in a straight manner in our lives, that's middle way.
당저 아니 가제 시당당 레가 제당의 정보치 용와라 주데 삼로데 정보치고 삼로데 삼로당
And for our actions to be straight, for our words to be straight, first our mind mainly needs to be straight.
대인소자 소소 양 삼로데 가서 탑도 정보당 tum나 어디 양 오마 자 리라오 돈 당아서 니마레레게 라랭도.
If we're able to make our minds like this, to make our minds always like this, not fall into these extremes, that's the practice of middle way too.
Asum tata la go ji mari de pen togo ji. 당아서 양 오마 pe chago samodana 동반이 있어야 될 삼는 당고리 동반이 용라 로용 제고리 동반이 또 고리라보다 다 오마 문이 그다양 아주 아무고 삼로 당다지 대가서 니마레가 무세나로라 가서 단다 동반이 있어야 될 로라 차트 메인 손자 디콜레 안데시 뭐보자 되나 단다 데스.
So I think this concept, this thought, I think it's beneficial. If we keep adding more thoughts, more things, for example, if we talk about middle way, we can also go to emptiness and philosophy and all these things. And if we add more and more things, it's hard for us to put all of these things into practice in our daily lives. And because of this, I think this keeping here, it's okay.
마시 숨다레 소다 가차 정보 레가 정보 삼로 정보.
Balance maybe is a good word you use now. So yeah, I said 3 concepts right now. I said actions in a balanced way, your speech in a balanced way, and also your thoughts in a balanced way. So I already said 3. And also I just said 4 because I said also a balanced human being, to be a balanced human being.
That's all.
Okay, thank you, you all.
Yes,
yes, please.
Yes.
Because you said something about stabilizing meditation and analytical meditation, and that we should bring it together. And I didn't understand what is it and how to bring it together in practice.
결국은 조건이 냠도 제거를 나오면 zonri 제거를 zonri genjo zonri 생각하려고 그래서 지금 마동아서 결국은 조건이가 뒤치도 내 당보고 제토야요 말대 하고서 결국은 조건이가 뒤치도 삼로 당토야로 되니 여러 배는 아주 내 당보가 세다 내 당보발라 딘디 용고 말했어.
Yeah, so he was saying about how this practice of how to say stabilizing meditation and analytical meditation. So this practice it comes to a point where you practice this at the same time. And at one time, in one moment, at the same time, you can practice analytical meditation together with stabilizing meditation. But this is a high practice. It's not for in the beginning or usually we cannot practice this.
What are these two?
조금 더 개검용 가리래.
알레오.
조금 더 개검.
조 생도 조금 세디가나 주의 소소가 샘데 강 삼로 당사 페나 아주 리라오노지나다 알레 메도도지 삼로 다르와 아주 메도도지나 삼로 당나 소소가 샘데 주의 야마 쇼르마지 메도고 강레 템보 오지 메도랑데 삼니 데데와이나 텔레조
So for example, for the stabilizing meditation. So let's say we need to think about a flower. We need to think about, we want to think about a flower. And then if we have this stabilizing, so it has to be stable. So it's a practice of our mind not falling to other sides, not being distracted, not going here and there.
It's also with breath, for example.
Now, ujong.
It's about awareness.
오 운종을 딱이가 저 운종 고미 봐 운종은 제가 운종을 그간라 수수 샘도 대바 자고마도 현다 칠로다도 솔라 수수 샘바 쇼마지가지 운종을 간라 템보 안에 제바들야 조금스.
Exactly, yes. When we were practicing, for example, before this breathing meditation, so we focus on the breathing itself, and whatever else we don't let our mind go to this place.
It's about concentrating the mind.
Exactly, yes. And to be stable, with this object, that's stabilizing meditation.
다 오랑라 삼로 따가랑 땅바 간실라 양아저 고 우드 트라포 용구도 우드 간데 용구도 딘디게 삼로 다야 양 까까래 우 나저 지니 숨시 나 샘거 토니아 장가지 양 까까래 여기니 마 데즈 샘 줌니 딘디 진리 삼로 다는 거야 데즈 따길이 샘 템보니바 간실라 양 삼로 데즈 땅고도 오 딘디 데려야 양 계곰스.
And with the breathing meditation, to say in an easy to understand way of relationship with the analytical meditation, for example, we are checking our breath, we put our mind in the breath itself, we are watching the breath, and then we can, for example, analyze if our breath is shallow, if our breath is deep, how fast is our breath, we analyze, and we also it's like a combination, an easy to understand way, yeah. And also like counting, we count the breath, 1, 2.
But combination is it's just the other one, not both. That's not the two together. That's just the analytical.
Di ingano su di penanga su tang gyabna pena ujong tang gyabna di gegong tang jogom nyamdure ben.
Nyamdure kapkala dini ruta nazo takbo yungdu yana ruta pe jabo yungdu so dini jini yang te kebachi esna haboso Gyaltsen la samlotani odini roji Gyaltsen chola manze samlotani dile gegomse ta dona dini
Yes, exactly. Yes, it becomes analytical meditation in this case when you are analyzing how is my breath, is it shallow, is it deep, etc. That's analytical meditation.
Yana penanga dini roji ane sozo pamala mini data dingota driver show samni ti kyamba tola semtembo samlotani de devaina.
And also, for example, if we can think about our parents and we think, may they meet with happiness, may they don't have suffering in their lives. If we are able to keep our mind stable during this moment, focus, that's also stabilizing meditation.
Da ani ona ni pamadi dumur ta trego yobaina ni dumur kandiri dumur la gazo yori dumur kawal tini chungudu ani dumur mebazo wala tablam garagodu. O dini yang ko jebachi dumur ka tole dumur zada karre ko ju kanila tini chungudu kandi mebazo dini samlo tawndi kala kego.
And if you think about, for example, we're thinking about our parents and we're thinking, may they meet with happiness, may they be separated from suffering, and then we think, what is suffering? Like, what are the sufferings they have? How many sufferings? How does the sufferings come about? How does it work? This and analysis is the analytical meditation.
So the one is more about the feeling, maybe, or get into I tried to.
조금 그는
understand
좋아하는 대화열에 아니시 바디 섬렀던
서로 변하면서 점반열샤시 점반열샤 시그 돈이 소소 검제 리 점반열샤 소소 그 리보가 내다 다 라바라바 제나 점반열샤 라바라바 제나 소소 리보가 내다 간이 지임바데 데다가랑 데 코텐치니 데바이나 리 점반열샤스 점반열샤 시오르바
Yeah, so about a feeling, you said about feeling, and he's saying now about the 4 close placements of the mind. So these are ways also to practice stabilizing meditation. One of them, the first of them, is using your body as the object of this meditation.
다 나신 그 변나 소소 서로와 점반열샤 다 소소 그 생고 나노라 서로와 대화 등을 서로와 간이지 내고요 봐. 야나 변나 니 라바로도 저 때제 나대고 봐. 디갑디 소소를 서로와 간이지 내고 봐. 디 서로와랑 and
the second of these 4 close placements of the mind is the feelings themselves. So you can use the feelings of your mind also, like the happiness and suffering you experience, you focus on this, or you can also use the sensations of your body. Also, if you have something, a pain, you have a disease, maybe you can practice your stabilizing meditation with this sensation.
Drink yoba de so sortsam chini de drensam chini so same de mupa song ro danda kang same ya sam de yoba kang drink yoba tagarang the temba isni tela same de de vaina same temba.
And the third one, which is using your mind as the object, is whatever it is that is you're remembering, whatever you're thinking, you focus on the memory itself or the thought itself, and you focus on the thought itself that's using the mind as the object of.
Tata na jing so so pena medo do ji baina ko medo chi mu ba so ni ti ka le ya so so medo the tin sam ji ni tin ba so ni de baina tele ya chu tam ba nyar.
And the fourth one, which is the close placement of the mind on different phenomena, is, for example, visualizing a flower or anything else and keeping your mind stable in this. What did you?
Imba yang tamba nyar tele ya ko rimba rode ko tamba nyar ra to ni nyam le teni ko le chen to zinda ma so na ko mombo yore ma to tamba nyar za de chi gram mare ko chen to mombo nyam le che
Tamba nyar shi
me ji yor ba tamba nyar shi yor ba ji de la thara zin mo nyam le pe lila wo ta to ni nyam le che teni a de ko rimba ma so na
Lui
taki tam da taki nga so shea de ko pe le tambo nga so ko tamanya jali la wo toni gom ya de ya tini ya mi ta ba da tini ya da me ba tini chama la mu bi tamanya jarimba chini pe thara mu gom ya yo.
And then inside this close placements of the mind, there are a lot of differences between coarse levels or subtle levels. So basically what's easier to practice, what's harder. So the body here, for example, is something very easy to begin with. It's something very easy to notice. And then the feeling, and then there are many other levels, for example, regarding permanence, selflessness, etc. But you had something. Okay.
Yeah, well, it will take time until I
Those are the 4 options for stabilization.
Yes,
Yeah.
I got this.
Okay.
Yes, I wanted to try to understand how to bring it together, but as I understood, I stay with stabilization and analyzation separately.
Gekommen 조금 근데 눈여는 그래 내용이 있는 공답선다 내용이 고성 지진하던 당에 조금 그래 주직랑이 조금 아니 저랑이 개공
다 젠조 존르르즈는 산세 치기치라 로바체니 로고레라 그래 다가랑 까까라 소소 가르지 디간 다가랑 셈데 바조 소소 곰자 디간라 템보 다세오 진 셈데 페 동부진 나저야 까까라야 나라 가장 가르치 좀 가장 대제 곰자 디간라 나라 징와라바 ngala chiwara ba da ngi gomni bo de nyam de chini na chiwara ba ngala ngorko ta ya na de tsor kazan joki ma de gomja de ngala kajil ni son ko gomji kala de yo ba kajila sem de pe se o me ba pe nyuto logic kani gom de 람사 다디 예 곰모니 딩인즈모니 더 곰부미도 예 징와 곰데샤자 서로질레스만.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there is the goal, there is the objective that the stabilizing meditation, the analytical meditation, they're going to support each other. So you practice them. I don't know if I can say together, but you practice them in a way that they're going to increase, they're going to benefit each other. And yeah, just as you said, when you practice stabilizing meditation, so then you focus on the stabilizing meditation and you focus on having a very clear mind, a very awake mind, very clear. I had the experience just yesterday morning. I was meditating in my room and I felt some we can say a technical term, a coarse laxity, which means basically a dullness of the mind, like basically sleepiness. I felt it coming and I thought to myself, oh, no, I'm not practicing concentration anymore. This is not actually concentration anymore.
어디에 사서 마치나 징와다 딩인즈니 노르니 딘디고 가르레즈나 코 페나가서 데 곰바이나 소소디니 지는 곰데 데 소소가 셈라 젠슨 제바이나 세오메와 야나 셈도 마 뇨토로 차데야 디간라 데가랑 텐데오다 템바 간질라 지 소소 셈도 살보다 지 정보로 메와.
So that's something that we have to be very careful, because if we're not careful, then our concentration and this laxity, it's okay, this laxity, they go together and the laxity becomes stronger. For example, we are meditating on this cup. We're trying to be very concentrated just on this cup, and then we get to a state of that's not very clear. It's a bit like a fog, and we get used to this. So we have to be very careful with this. The object needs to be very clear to our eyes.
디인소의 디카블 가르쳐 고려해서 디가 소소 곰겨라 우스 마치와지 곰지 양조 문트니 마치와지 대제 동발의 추겨 대제 소소 찰로도 소소 대제 스포트 바 상보지 아까고라 나와식 첨부 딘디 요바이노 양날 학바 잡돼서 딘디라 소소 스포트 가서 탑탑 상보지 톱나 대장도 가는 소소 셈바데야 상보 세보자 대 셈보자디 가는 딘디지니 소용이 소소 가르공고는 디가나 셈바샤와인 소소 셈바다 정보 다 낭마치 용도 그래.
And when this happens to you, that it starts to come this feeling, this fogginess, so you don't like strive with effort, you don't force it in order to have this. You can go to the toilet, you can wash your face, you can just move your body a little bit, or maybe you can look at the light. It's very good. You look at the light for some time, and then when you have you're a little bit more awake, then you go back and you try to have this clear experience. Sorry, I said too much, but in
다 소소가 딘디진의 셈다 정보 돈이 소소 곰 가르공고연의 디강나 소소 셈다 템보 샤니 아니 까마치 니숨 딘디 다까마치 동보 까마치 칙칙도 곰 인순투두 담몽보 곰양 딘디 곰사데 양 치스 양 딘디지데 양 중세 몽보 삼로다니 데 가레레지 다다기나시 지고 계공 돌다기나시 두무르데 주카레 모카레 장카레 어디리 양 계바친 양곰 딘디진 곰바이나 아니 계조 송드르세
listen.
계곰제 곰제 어디 튼치라 계곰제 딘디지 바이나 까치라 템보네야다 아니 베
So basically in short here, the advice is with the stabilizing meditation. So for you to have this very clear, very awake with the object, it's better if you do for a short time and many sessions. So instead of a very long session, you do, for example, 1 minute, just 1 minute. You focus on whatever is your object of focus, and you keep it very clear without falling to the laxity. You keep it very clear. And then you can practice the analytical meditation. One example, for example, is thinking about suffering. So then you analyze, what is suffering? What are the kinds of suffering, etc. You think about this using reasonings. You think about reasons, and then you go back to the stabilizing meditation, and then you do the analytical meditation, then stabilizing meditation. And in this way, you can develop both of them.
That's all.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. 그래서 아니 산이형아 저 조정한테 제가 그 벤도요나?
Tomorrow also 5:30, if there's any benefit for you,
응?
then we come again.
그래서
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pedro.
Thank you. Thank you.
야
Thank you.
먼저 저런 뭐 제마다 하는 오늘 오늘도 마제반은 제제제반이야. 오늘 공단 배워 쇼 교와 군대요. 그럼 주요반은 사단 남지 연대라. 그렇지 좀 공부하면 그래서 너무 저 데모 자자자
Ciao, ciao. 이래.
오brigado.
Obrigada, thank you so much.
Sana.